"You're moving to the guest room," my dad announced, mid-carve of the Thanksgiving turkey. The knife paused in the golden skin, steam rising between us. "I'm converting the basement into a home theater." I looked up from my untouched plate, the cranberry sauce still glistening, perfectly untouched. Around the table, my brother Marcus shifted in his seat. Uncle Tom's fork stopped halfway to his mouth. My dad's girlfriend, Linda, smiled like this was wonderful news. "Really?" I kept my voice level, though my heart had started that familiar racing. "I work down there, Dad. My entire office is set up in the basement." He waved the carving knife dismissively, sending a small spray of juice across the white tablecloth. "You can work from a coffee shop. That's what all you tech people do anyway, right? Besides, with what I'm paying for this house, I should be able to use the space however I want." That was the moment. Not the first moment, but the one where something inside me finally clicked into place. The moment I realized that the temporary 6 months I'd moved back had turned into 18 months of slowly disappearing. Let me back up. My mother died 2 years ago. Ovarian cancer, stage 4 by the time they caught it. 6 months from diagnosis to funeral. My dad, who'd been a regional manager for a logistics company for 30 years, completely fell apart. Which was understandable. They'd been married for 34 years. Marcus and I had both come home for the funeral. Marcus stayed 3 days, then went back to his real estate business in Bellevue. He had clients, he said. Open houses to run, a life he'd built. I understood. I stayed longer. Someone had to help Dad sort through Mom's things, handle the paperwork, make sure he was eating. Marcus would call every few days, ask how Dad was doing, then mention a big sale he'd just closed. Dad would beam with pride, tell me I should be more like my brother, ambitious, driven. I was a senior front-end developer at a cloud services company. I'd worked my way up from junior dev, taught myself 3 frameworks, led a team of 4. My salary was $140,000 a year. Marcus made more, but not that much more. The difference was that Marcus's job looked impressive. Mine looked like playing on computers, as Dad put it. After 3 weeks, I went back to my apartment in Capitol Hill, a 1-bedroom loft with exposed brick and windows that looked out over the city. I'd saved for 2 years for that deposit. It was mine. But Dad kept calling. He couldn't figure out the bills. The house was too big and empty. He was eating cereal for dinner. Could I just come for the weekend? Just until he got his feet under him? 1 weekend became 2. Then a month. My lease was coming up for renewal. Dad asked if I'd consider, just temporarily, moving back home. Just for 6 months. Just until he retired and figured out his next steps. He had the whole basement, fully finished, with a bathroom and everything. I could set up my office down there, save on rent, help him save the house. The house. Mom and Dad had refinanced it twice. Once for Marcus's college, once for renovations they'd never quite finished. There was still $180,000 left on the mortgage. Dad's salary had covered it fine, but he'd been talking about early retirement. At 56, he could take a reduced pension and finally relax. So I gave up my apartment, gave up my exposed brick and city views, moved back to the suburbs of Seattle, to the house where I'd grown up, where my bedroom had been converted into Linda's closet, apparently, because Dad had started dating 6 months after Mom died. The basement was nice. I'd give him that. Carpet, a full bathroom, plenty of space for my dual monitors and standing desk. Dad helped me move my stuff in, kept saying how great it would be to have me around, how Mom would have wanted this. I paid the first month's bills within a week of moving in. The mortgage, the utilities, the internet upgrade to 500 megabits per second because I needed it for work. Dad had looked surprised when I'd handed him my half. "Oh, I figured since you're making good money, I'll cover the groceries too," I'd said. Because someone had to, and Dad was eating frozen pizzas and drinking too much beer. "Just temporarily," he'd assured me. "Just until I figure out the budget in retirement." He retired 2 months later. Took the pension, which was $3,200 a month, enough to cover about half the mortgage and his car payment, not enough for everything else, apparently. The ask started small. "Emma, since you're going to the store anyway, could you grab me some of those good steaks? The ones from the butcher counter? The ones that were $28 a pound. Emma, the lawn service quit. Can you add that to your credit card this month? I'll pay you back when the pension hits. He never did. Emma, I'm thinking about getting a new TV for the living room. One of those big 4 Kelvins ones. Maybe 75 inches? You could chip in since you watch it too. I didn't watch it. I worked 60-hour weeks and spent my evenings in the basement. 3 months in, I'd paid $8,750 in household expenses. I had the spreadsheet. I was compulsive about tracking it because I'd learned, long ago, that with Dad, you needed receipts. The real shift happened when Linda moved in. I came home from a rare in-office day to find her clothes in the hallway closet, her bathroom products lining the counter, her yoga mat rolled up in the corner of the living room. Dad was grilling in the backyard, a beer in his hand, looking more relaxed than I'd seen him in months. Linda's going to be staying here for a while, he announced over dinner. Her lease was up, and, well, why pay for 2 places? Linda smiled at me. I'm so glad we can all be family. Linda didn't work. Linda did yoga at 10 a.m. and went to book club and had mimosa brunches with her friends. Linda also had opinions about how the house should be run. Emma, could you not leave your running shoes by the back door? It looks cluttered, she said one morning as I was rushing out for a jog before work. Emma, I'm making a nice dinner tonight, so maybe work in a coffee shop? The kitchen is kind of my space from 4 to 7, she said another day. My space, the space I was paying for. I started keeping even more detailed records. Every grocery receipt, every utility bill, the $487.50 for electricity, the $156 for gas, the $89.99 for internet, the $1,847 for the mortgage, the $200 for water and garbage, the $180 for the lawn service, the $400 in groceries every 2 weeks. Marcus came by for Sunday dinners. He'd bring a bottle of wine, eat the food I'd bought, tell stories about his latest big sale, a waterfront property in Madison Park, a mid-century modern in Laurelhurst. Dad would beam. Linda would coo. Emma, you're so quiet, Marcus said one Sunday. Everything okay? I was calculating that I'd spent $14,230 in 6 months. Fine, just tired from work. Well, some of us work hard. Linda laughed, like it was a joke, like my job wasn't real because I did it from home. The incident with the office happened in September. I was on a video call with my team, discussing a critical bug in our latest deployment, when Dad barged into the basement. Not knocked, barged. Emma, do you know where the extension cords are? He asked, fully visible in my camera. I muted myself. Dad, I'm in a meeting. It'll just take a second. I'm in a meeting. My voice was firmer. He huffed and left. I unmuted, apologized to my team, and finished the call. When I went upstairs, Dad was in the living room with a catalog for home theater systems. I've been thinking, he said. The basement would make a perfect theater room. Comfortable seating, a projector, surround sound. I could finally enjoy my retirement. I work down there, Dad. You could work from anywhere. Go to a coffee shop, get a co-working space. It would be good for you to get out more anyway. You're always cooped up down there. I'm working. That's my office. An office I'm providing, he said. And there it was. The shift. It's my house, Emma. I think I should be able to use the space however I want. The house that I'm paying for, I said quietly. What was that? Nothing. How much is this theater system? He brightened immediately. About $15,000. But we could do a payment plan. You could help with the monthly. No. His face darkened. Excuse me? No, Dad. I'm not buying you a home theater system. After everything I've done for you, letting you live here, giving you space, I've paid over $14,000 in 6 months to live in a basement. Well, if you're going to be ungrateful about it. He stood up, took his catalog, and walked away. Linda appeared from the kitchen. You shouldn't speak to your father that way. I went back to the basement and added a new line to my spreadsheet. Home theater request. Declined. The next incident was the golf membership. Dad's best friend, Gary, had joined a country club. Not super exclusive, but nice enough. 18 holes, a clubhouse, a pro shop. The initiation fee was $3,000, plus $450 a month in dues. It would be so good for my health, Dad said over dinner. I need to get out more, get some exercise. My doctor says I should be more active. Golf is great exercise, Marcus agreed. He was a member at a different club, one that cost twice as much. Emma, I was thinking you could help with the initiation fee, Dad said. As a birthday present. My birthday's coming up. His birthday was in 4 months. Dad, that's $3,000. Well, you make good money. And it's for my health. You could walk. Walking is free. Linda gasped, like I'd said something obscene. Emma, that's so rude. Or you could get a gym membership. Those are like $40 a month. I want to golf, Dad said, his voice taking on that edge. I worked for 30 years. I think I deserve to enjoy my retirement. Then use your pension. My pension barely covers my expenses. Your expenses? The words were out before I could stop them. I've paid $18,000 in 7 months. What expenses? The house insurance, the car, my phone, food for 3 people. I buy the food. Well, someone has to pay for the utilities and I pay for those too, Dad. I have receipts. The table went silent. Marcus looked at his plate. Uncle Tom, who'd stopped by for dinner, watched with careful eyes. I think what Emma's trying to say, Linda jumped in, is that maybe we should all contribute more equally. I'd love that, I said. Let's split everything 3 ways. Well, I don't have income right now, Linda said. I'm between opportunities. So 2 ways then. You and me, Dad. He glared at me. You're living in my house. Your house that I'm keeping from foreclosure. Marcus stood up. I should go. Early showing tomorrow. Marcus, you don't have to, Dad started. But Marcus was already grabbing his jacket, kissing Linda on the cheek, avoiding my eyes. Uncle Tom helped me clear the plates in silence. Your mother would be ashamed, Dad said as I loaded the dishwasher. That one hit. I felt it in my chest. That old familiar guilt. Would she? Would Mom be ashamed that I'd stood up for myself? Or would she be ashamed that I'd let it get this far? The car incident happened 2 weeks later. I'd parked in the driveway, same spot I'd been parking for 8 months, when I came out to leave for work and found a long scratch down the driver's side. Not deep, but visible. About 3 feet long. Dad was in the garage, organizing his tools. Or pretending to. Dad, did you see what happened to my car? Oh, that? He didn't look up. Yeah, I scraped it this morning backing out. You really shouldn't park there. I've parked there for 8 months. Well, it's in my way. You should park on the street. Did you scrape it on purpose? Now he looked at me. Why would I do that? To get me to move my car. Don't be dramatic. It's just a little scratch. Your insurance will cover it. My insurance will go up if I file a claim. Then get it fixed yourself. Probably only a few $100. My car was a 2019 Honda Civic. It wasn't fancy, but it was paid off, and it was mine. I'd bought it with my first bonus from work. The scratch would cost at least $800 to fix properly. You scratched my car and you want me to pay to fix it? I didn't do it on purpose. But his eyes said otherwise. I took photos, added them to a folder on my computer labeled documentation, added another line to my spreadsheet. Car damage, $800, estimated. The daily demands started to blur together. Emma, since you're home, can you let the lawn service in? Emma, can you sign for this package? Emma, Linda needs a ride to her book club. Your meeting can wait, right? Emma, can you pick up my prescription? Emma, the dishwasher is making a noise. Can you look at it? I was a software developer, not a plumber. Emma, we need more paper towels. Emma, Emma, Emma. Every interruption was prefaced with since you're home or since you work from home, like my job wasn't real because they couldn't see it. Like the code I wrote, the meetings I ran, the deployments I managed, were all just playtime on a computer. I started working from coffee shops. Then from the office, even though my company was fully remote. Anything to get away from the constant demands, the interruptions, the feeling that I was disappearing into the role of household manager, ATM, and emotional support system all at once. My savings, which had been growing steadily before I moved back, had stalled. I was making good money, but spending it all keeping my dad's house afloat. Keeping him in golf catalogs and Linda in yoga pants and Marcus's conscience clear because at least someone was helping Dad. Uncle Tom noticed. He was Dad's younger brother, never married, worked as an engineer for Boeing. He'd stop by every few weeks, usually around dinner time. He was quiet, observed more than he spoke, and he'd always been my favorite uncle. You look tired, he said one evening in October. We were in the kitchen, me cooking dinner for 4, him peeling potatoes. Work's been busy. That's not what I meant. I looked at him. He had Dad's eyes but Mom's kindness. "How much are you paying to live here?" he asked quietly. "Enough, Emma. About $2,000 a month, plus groceries and everything else. Maybe $2,500 all in." He was quiet for a long moment. "You know you could get a nice apartment for that." "I know. So why stay?" I didn't have an answer. Or I did, but it was complicated. Guilt, obligation, the ghost of my mother's voice saying, "Take care of your father." The fear that if I left, what would happen? Would he lose the house? Would that be my fault? "He's my dad," I finally said. "He's also a grown man who's taking advantage of his daughter." I didn't respond, just kept chopping vegetables. "Your mom wouldn't want this," Uncle Tom said. "Dad said she'd be ashamed of me." "For what? For having boundaries? Your mother was the strongest woman I knew. She would be proud of you, and she'd be furious with your father." I felt tears prickling but blinked them away. "I'm just trying to help." "I know. But there's help and there's enabling. You're not helping him. You're making it possible for him to avoid dealing with his own life." I knew he was right. But knowing something and being ready to act on it are different things. The breaking point came at Thanksgiving. I'd been planning it for weeks. The turkey, the sides, the pie. Marcus was coming, bringing his new girlfriend. Uncle Tom was coming. Linda had invited her sister. It would be nice, I told myself. A real family Thanksgiving. I spent $340 on groceries. Made 3 trips to different stores to get everything. Brined the turkey for 2 days. Made the stuffing from scratch, the cranberry sauce from fresh cranberries, the mashed potatoes with real cream and butter. The house smelled amazing. The table looked beautiful. I'd even bought flowers for the centerpiece. We sat down at 3 o'clock. Dad at the head of the table, Linda to his right, Marcus and his girlfriend Sarah across from me, Uncle Tom next to me, Linda's sister Karen at the other end. Dad picked up the carving knife. "I want to thank Emma for this beautiful meal," he said, and I felt a small warmth. Maybe this would be okay. Maybe, and I have an exciting announcement, he continued. "I've decided to convert the basement into a proper home theater. I've been watching a lot of movies lately, and it just makes sense." The knife paused in the golden skin of the turkey. "Linda and I have been talking, and we think Emma should move into the guest room upstairs. It's plenty of space, and this way, I can finally enjoy my retirement the way I've always dreamed." The warmth evaporated. The entire table went silent. "You're moving to the guest room," my dad announced, mid-carve of the Thanksgiving turkey. I looked at my plate, at the perfectly roasted Brussels sprouts I'd spent an hour preparing, at the homemade rolls that had taken 3 rises to get right. "Really?" I kept my voice calm, though my hands were shaking under the table. "I work down there, Dad. My entire office is set up in the basement. You can work from coffee shops. That's what all you tech people do anyway. Besides, with what I'm paying for this house, I should be able to use the space however I want." The table was frozen. Marcus wouldn't look at me. Linda was smiling. Uncle Tom's fork had stopped moving. "With what you're paying?" The question came out quieter than I intended. "Yes. The mortgage. The upkeep. The—" "Actually, Dad," I interrupted, my voice still soft, still calm. "I think we should clear something up." I pulled out my phone. Thank God for cloud storage. I opened my spreadsheet, the one I'd been keeping for 18 months. Every receipt, every payment, every dollar. I've been tracking my expenses since I moved back. "Would you like to know how much I've paid to live in your house?" I didn't wait for an answer. In 18 months, I've paid $44,280. That's the mortgage, utilities, internet, groceries, lawn service, house insurance, yes. I paid that last month when you said you forgot repairs, and miscellaneous expenses that you said you'd pay me back for but never did. The table was completely silent now. Even Linda had stopped smiling. "That's over $2,400 a month. For a basement. While you've been using your pension for—" "What exactly?" "Because it hasn't been for the house." "Emma," Marcus started, but I held up my hand. "No, Marcus. You don't get to mediate this. You come here every other Sunday, eat the food I buy, and then go home to your life while telling Dad how successful you are. You haven't paid a single bill. You haven't spent a single night wondering if the house will go into foreclosure. You've been the golden child while I've been the ATM." Marcus's face went red. Sarah was staring at her plate. I turned back to Dad. So to answer your question, no, I'm not moving to the guest room so you can build a home theater. Actually, I'm moving out. I found an apartment. I sign the lease tomorrow. I'll be out by next Friday. You can't just, Dad started. I can. I've given up 18 months of my life, over $40,000, and my mental health trying to save you from yourself. I'm done. After everything I've done for you. Everything you've done? I laughed, and it didn't sound like me. You mean letting me pay all your bills while you played retirement? While Linda moved in and didn't contribute anything? While you scratched my car and expected me to pay to fix it? While you interrupted my work constantly because you don't think my job is real? Emma, you're being dramatic, Linda said. I turned to her. You don't get to speak. You've lived here for free for 6 months. You've contributed nothing. You don't work. You don't clean. I do that too, by the way, and you have the audacity to tell me how to park my car and use the kitchen. You're a guest who never leaves. Linda's face went white. Karen looked like she wanted to disappear. Uncle Tom knows, I continued, looking at my dad. He asked me months ago how much I was paying. He told me I was enabling you. He was right. I'm not helping you, Dad. I'm making it possible for you to avoid growing up. Don't you dare. I'm done. I stood up. I've already started packing. My stuff will be gone by next Friday. After that, you'll need to figure out how to pay the mortgage on your own. Or sell the house. Or have Linda get a job. Or ask Marcus to help. But I'm done being the one who sacrifices everything while you treat me like a burden instead of the person keeping you afloat. I started to walk toward the basement stairs, then stopped. Turned back. One more thing. I've been documenting everything. Every payment, every request, every demand. I have receipts, timestamps, emails, text messages. So when you tell the family that I abandoned you, and I know you will just remember that I have proof of exactly what I contributed and what I received in return. Uncle Tom stood up. Emma, I'll help you pack. Tom, you don't have to, Dad started. Yes, I do. Because someone should have helped her months ago, and I'm ashamed I didn't push harder. He looked at Dad with something between disappointment and anger. She's right about all of it, and you know it. We went downstairs. I could hear Dad starting to yell, Linda trying to calm him down, Marcus saying something about maybe we should all just calm down. Uncle Tom helped me pack in silence for a while, then said, Your mom would be proud of you. Dad said she'd be ashamed. Your dad is wrong. Your mom would have dragged you out of here 6 months ago. She would have been furious with him for taking advantage of you. We worked until midnight, boxing up my office, my clothes, my life. Uncle Tom took a load to his place to store, said I could move it to my new apartment next week. I slept in the basement that night, or tried to. Upstairs, I could hear Dad and Linda arguing. Her sister had left, Marcus had left. It was just them, finally facing what happened when the person paying for everything stopped. The next 5 days were tense. Dad didn't speak to me. Linda made passive-aggressive comments. I packed in silence, worked from coffee shops, came home late. Marcus texted. Did you have to do it like that? On Thanksgiving? I texted back. He announced he was taking my office on Thanksgiving. At least I brought receipts. Uncle Tom came by every evening, helped me move boxes. On Friday, he brought his truck. We moved everything in 3 loads. My new apartment was in Capitol Hill. 1 bedroom, exposed brick, big windows. It cost $1,850 a month less than I'd been paying to live in a basement. It was mine. That first night, sitting on an air mattress surrounded by boxes, I felt it. That lightness. That space. That silence. No one asking me for money. No one interrupting my meetings. No one telling me my job wasn't real or my parking was wrong or I should be more grateful. Just me, my space. My peace. Dad called twice in the first week. I didn't answer. He left voicemails. The first was angry. You're being childish. Call me back so we can discuss this like adults. The second was different. Emma, the mortgage is due. Can we talk? I didn't call back. Linda texted. Your father is very hurt by your behavior. I blocked her number. Marcus texted. Dad says you guys aren't talking. Maybe you should reach out. I replied. I have reached out. For 18 months. With my wallet. It's his turn. 3 weeks went by. I threw myself into work. Got a promotion, actually. Senior team lead. My boss said I'd been doing the work already. She was just making it official. $155,000 a year. All mine. I joined a gym, started running again, met up with friends I'd been neglecting, went on a date with a guy from one of those apps. It didn't work out, but it was nice to remember I was a person outside of being Dad's ATM. Uncle Tom invited me to Thanksgiving dinner. Just the two of us, at his place. Turkey sandwiches and football. It was perfect. "How's Dad?" I asked, because I couldn't help it. "Struggling. He had to take on some part-time consulting work. They're talking about selling the house." I felt a pang of guilt, then pushed it away. "What about Marcus?" "He's been helping with some bills. Not happy about it." "Good." Linda moved out. That surprised me. Really? Turns out she was only interested when there was someone else paying for everything. Uncle Tom smiled. "Your father is learning some hard lessons. Do you think he'll ever apologize?" "I don't know, but does it matter?" I thought about it. No, I guess it doesn't. Christmas came. Marcus sent a group text. "Small Christmas at Dad's. Everyone welcome." I didn't respond. Uncle Tom texted separately. "You don't have to go. But if you want to, I'll be there." Backup. I thought about it for a long time. Part of me wanted to see Dad, to see if he'd changed. Part of me wanted to walk back into that house with my head high and my receipts ready. But the bigger part of me, the part that was finally healing, knew that I didn't owe him anything. Not my presence, not my forgiveness, not my time. I texted Uncle Tom. "I'm good, going skiing with friends. Merry Christmas." He sent back a photo later that day. Dad at the table, Marcus next to him, both looking uncomfortable. Uncle Tom's caption. "He asked about you. I told him you were living your best life. He didn't like that." I smiled. Sent back a selfie from the ski lodge, me and 3 friends. All of us laughing, mountains behind us. Tell him I said hi. New Year's Eve, I was at a rooftop party in Capitol Hill. Champagne, friends, the Seattle skyline spread out below. At midnight, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is your father. I've been thinking about what happened. Maybe we could talk." I stared at it for a long moment. Around me, people were cheering, counting down, kissing. A fresh start, a new year. I could respond, could open that door again, could see if he'd really changed, or if this was just another manipulation, another attempt to get me back into the role of fixer, provider, safety net. Or I could let it go, could choose myself, could honor the 18 months I'd given, the $44,280 I'd spent, the piece of myself I'd lost, trying to save someone who didn't want to be saved. I deleted the text. At 12:01, I raised my glass with my friends. "To new beginnings," someone said. "To freedom," I added. Because that's what it was. Not revenge, not anger, not even satisfaction at watching him struggle. Just freedom. My father taught me what I needed to learn, just not the lesson he intended. He taught me that love without respect is manipulation. That generosity without appreciation is exploitation. That family isn't a free pass to abuse. That saying no is not the same as being cruel. That leaving is not the same as abandoning. That sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let someone face their own consequences. My apartment is quiet now. My paycheck is mine. My time is mine. My life is mine. And for the first time in 18 months, I'm enough. Just me. Not me plus my wallet. Not me plus my guilt. Not me plus my obligation. Just me. And that's more than enough.